Thank you, Kochi Metro, for inviting the DFCCIL in this summit, which is very important. If somebody is in the back seats, tell me what is the logistic cost of GDP in India? Any guess? And what it should be ideally? Minimum. Minimum means some idea of the figure. Okay. You see, the economic survey of 22-23 says the logistic cost in India ranges between 14 to 18% of GDP. That is one of the highest in the world. And ideally speaking, it should be around 8%. In China, I am told it is 6%. The most important thing is that we at times are not in a position to tell you what is exactly the logistic cost. There are many studies by some big four companies which are giving the reference like it is, someone says 12%, 14%, 15%. What I am trying to say is that the database collection, the report preparation, we are somewhere lagging behind. The Indian railway system is lagging behind in this one. So we would not be able to tell you what is exactly the logistic cost, what has been the improvement after DFC, and how we want to change the scenario in India. You see, logistic cost reduction is related to industrialization in this country. Unless you reduce the logistic cost, you cannot become competitive internationally. So that now the government realizes it. And number of, when the target is $7 trillion economy by 2030, so we have to think big. We have the ambitious missions of Atmanirbhar Bharat, Make in India, Skill India. That requires, long leap forward, coming from 18% to 8%. What a challenge there is. Challenge in terms of bringing new technology, challenge in terms of investment. Huge investment is required in the infrastructure, and that investment requires a robust channel. How to channelize it, how to develop the models of investment, how to ensure that the industry finds itself comfortable in investing in infrastructure, and they are assured about the returns. So I was basically about to talk about PPP model. You see, public-private participation is a topic which has a vast range. It may be purely from where the private investment comes in a sense that in a very limited way, or it can be the fully private participation is there, ownership is there in running and maintenance. I mean, that is the next stage, that in the running and maintenance also private firm has a say, has a final say, full say, including freight determination. So, and the less participation becomes a hybrid model where the government and or a PSU and the private sector has almost equal participation, or the government has more participation than the private sector. So the models range includes, say, design, finance, construct, own, operate, run. Why is this being done? This is being done because not only the finances, but also to bring new technology in the system, the future-ready technology. So, the more participation from the private sector, the industry, the people who are technologically in an advanced stage, the better it is. Now, these are the success stories, Vande Bharat is one of the biggest achievements in transport system, where a very superb system has been developed with the collaboration of various stakeholders, Vande Bharat itself needs to be studied in detail how the collaboration has worked and wonderfully worked. And it is also an example of Atmanirbhar Bharat because we were in the driving seat. So something great has come in terms of manufacturing, in terms of capacity building, in terms of technology. Lot of advancement has come in terms of financing also. Hyderabad Metro is another, and it's a purely design, build, operate, transfer, finance model. It is working, though there was hiccups in between, but it has succeeded. And some new metro has come only through the private initiative. It's a big achievement. The model has been set actually. Now, WAG 12 locomotives. These are the most powerful locomotives for the freight trains. And they are coming up through Alstom, spelling mistake. So, at Madhepura, there is something new, and purely through the private participation, a very, very robust locomotive has been developed. So, Habibganj railway station is another example. It has come through private participation, and in fact, many stations are coming up. One upcoming loco factory is proposed at Daud in Gujarat. So, this is just giving an example. If you see the IRCTC, lot of efforts are being done regarding food plaza and many other initiatives through the private participation only. This is also there, National Monetization Pipeline. It asks for monetization of 120 stations, 30 trains, 1,400 kilometer track, commercialization of land. Huge land chunk is available with the railways. If you just see the railway system in Mumbai, you will find the land, it's a gold mine, but it has not been used, because we do not have the model for utilization of this, the robust model, the transparent model, the trustworthy model. That is what has to come up. You fear to take decisions regarding utilization of that land. That land itself can make you very economical, Lot of revenue can be generated from the non-commercial sources. So, rail-linked freight terminals are coming up. Then the last mile connectivity projects under Gati Shakti Master Plan. What is being said is that there are a number of initiatives being taken where private PPP model can be introduced. Now I will come into DFCCIL. DFCCIL, a cabinet had taken a decision that from Sonnagar in Bihar to Dankuni, it is Kolkata, a line of 500 kilometers has to be made on PPP model. That was a very important decision, and it was taken at least 10 years back. What was very important about it was that a railway system will be constructed by private participation, and it will be run by them. So this was first of its type where this initiative was being planned. But You see, we developed a number of models. One of the models is being given here. We could not do it, After deliberations for 2 years, there were not many takers for the initiative. It has not established. Finally, we reached even our President MR. He was there in the meeting, reviewed at least 3 hours at a stretch, and how to make a workable model. Not many permutation combinations were done, so that the industry feels compatible with the model we are developing. But we could not develop it. And finally, we have taken up this through our own system, APC contract by the railway itself. That is something learning that why it has not taken place and how to make it a success. Because if you construct the new corridors, lot many corridors are yet to be made. 5 lakh crore projects are even the project we have already submitted to Ministry of Railways. How this is going to be financed? How the technology comes? Even if we can arrange the finances, but the technology won't come in-house. So these are the challenges which we needs a lot of deliberations. How to make the new railway system also coming through PPP a success. This was what I was giving, was that ultimately we started from a pure PPP to ultimately we reached at a hybrid model where it turned out to be an annuity model. It's just a financing annuity model, and it was then found that there was absolutely no use of going for PPP. That may also delay the project and they may land into a lot of legal issues also, because the systems are not there. What are the systems? What are the risks? I will go into that. The idea here is not go into all these things, but just to say that what are the challenges. So numerous challenges are there. It's not simply like the NHAI hybrid model of annuity. It is so simple because the revenue stream is known, and the tax, toll tax is there. They collect the toll tax and they construct it. And they know that the traffic is anyway increasing. So everything is known, predictable. And at times the government had to cancel these toll plazas because of, that there is more revenue income than it was thought of. So that is a very commercially viable project. But in railways, the problem is that there are a lot of uncertainties. These risks, like here, when we were preparing there, then there were like, you have to have obligations of railways. There are number of obligations. Then authorities, DFCCIL obligation, like provide right of way, pay grant during the construction, provide security. Security also becomes a very important. If the private party says, once we started constructing a line, if there is a security threat, who will take care of that? Definitely the private party cannot take. So there are number of things that they cannot do it. They will not be in a position to do it. Like land acquisition, government can do it better than any private party. So there are like shared responsibilities have to be there. And these things tell us that what are the hurdles and how to handle these things. Just enumerate the risks, like land acquisition. I said that utility shifting, where there may be utilities of various government organizations, including railways, which have to be separate to construct the line. So forest and wildlife clearances, this is one of the very difficult tasks, and even DFCCIL was delayed enormously because of one of the reason was land acquisition, another one was the forest clearance. So that requires initiative from the state governments also. If you take up something, it is not only the railway which is constructing this, because you have to depend on different authorities, including municipalities, state governments, and various central government organizations for getting the clearances. So the construction risks are there, then the cost towards unforeseen utility expenditure, financing, funding of construction grants, deployment of security forces. Then the revenue risks are there, which ensure that a private party should come. That the revenue is that, and if you start a new railway, you are not certain about the tariff risk. If the government changes the tariff, then there will be loss. What is the guarantee that tomorrow the tariff would not be changed? Similarly, even that type of traffic also, if you change the policies, if you change that we will not transport coal, you reduce the coal utilization, then also there is less transportation of coal. So government policies may also change the freight movement. So operating risks are there, then financing, funding, performance, deployment of security and all that. So these are the for the concessionaires risk during construction, the financing risk. Now what is to be done? First of all, we have to think that it is a partnership. If we just engage a consultant to develop a model just to safeguard your interest only, it won't succeed. The failure of concessionaire or a construction agency is ultimately your failure, because you will be the biggest loser. So this has to be from the partnership point of view. The partnership, two different organizations, multiple organizations having USP in different fields, joining together to make something bigger. So that has to be the approach. So you see, the another problem is that we don't have a dispute resolution mechanism in India, which is a most important for anything to happen. Because tomorrow, if there is any dispute, you only become the person who resolves this dispute. Or if you go approach a legal system, it may take years together. So who would like to come in that type of system where you never know that what may be the fate of that project in future? So dispute resolution, a robust, transparent dispute resolution mechanism has to be there in place in time. Then the clarity of roles, and the robust financial planning means to avoid non-performing assets. Tomorrow the concessionaire is unable to pay back, then the bank stops financing. What will happen? So these things have to be chalked out in advance. Everything has to be very clear. So these are the points. This is only highlighting that what are the challenges there, the enormous challenges, but this can be done and this has to be done. We have to come up with a new model, a robust system where the private partnership is ready to come, and they are actually ready, but they are not confident. With these words, I just conclude. Thank you very much.